Greetings, race fans. Welcome to the Fat Cat Sports Network. I'm Jeremy McDonald with your mini stock highlights brought to you by Chris's Bobcat Services, a fantastic divisional sponsor of the mini stock division for many years. Tonight it was the Super Series third and final event. Ricky Miller at the top of the board after two convincing wins in the first two rounds. This defending champion in both the Super Series and divisional points was looking like he was going to be hard to beat heading into this final round. Not sure what was going to slow this driver down. Well, mechanical problems right out of the chute. The 17 having to be parked for the night, transmission problems. With that car scratched from the top of the podium, that meant Brandon Forsyth was technically your leader going in with 58 points. Only four behind him was the 49, Brapley Richard, with 54 points. He could be in position by the end of the night for the Super Series championship. Who knows, maybe even the veteran, Randy McTavish, he gets bumped up into third place, only 8 points out of the divisional lead as well. Plenty of possibilities. Who knows what was going to happen in that third and final feature? Was it going to be one of the newcomers to the track? Or maybe even one of those gutsy veterans like Randy McTavish? I'll tell you what though, having the hot hand lately, J&J Motorsports racking up the wins. The duo of Jeff Bridges and Jamie Runnahan running away with it as of late. They've been scoring plenty of wins here in this division and looking very, very strong. But the strongest at the top of the charts in your divisional points, the four of Shane Bridges starting it off with 539 points, looking to build an insurmountable lead, knowing that his friend and closest competitor, the 17 of Ricky Miller, was going to be parked for the night. Well, that meant that it could be a big night for points here for the four of Shane Bridges, the driver anxiously hoping that this season ends tomorrow so that he can claim that divisional championship that he has fought very hard over the last number of years. Regardless, strategy doesn't change, just gonna send it. Let's take a look at the highlights. Chris's Bobcat Service Mini Stock Division, jumping right on into the highlights here. Mentioned at the top of the hour, Jeff Bridges, J&J Motorsports with the hot steering wheel as of late, racking up lots of win, averaging 2 to 3 a night between those two drivers. Looking behind them, heading into the turn here though, 3 wide is gonna happen here. Isabel Getson stuck in the middle. That is Brian Burt down to the inside there, hammering down. Luckily, all the drivers get through it okay, as very wisely the 42 easing off on the outside. And here a little more give and go between the 42 and the 15. Maybe a little bit of history there. Well, lucky for the 95 of Jeff Bridges during a little pre-race chat with plenty of witnesses. Bridges claimed that his car should be even faster tonight than it was the last time out, and I told him this group of people were going to hold it to him. But hey, first heat out there, first checkered flag of the evening for the 95 as he delivers on his promise here to FSN before the race started. He's a man of his word.
He made that promise at the start of the night that car should be faster here today, and I think he has just fulfilled that promise in our opening heat. 5th win on the season here, 5 heat wins for the 95 of Jeff Bridges. J&J Motorsports continuing their winning ways here. And actually talking to the 47 of Brian Burt before the start of today's race is crediting Bridges and Runnahan for helping his team out try to find some extra speed in their car. So not only winning on the track, but helping out their fellow drivers, which is a fantastic It's a fantastic combination of competition and cooperation.
And even though his teammate Jamie Runahan had a little more practice at. It looks like the better burnout so far going to the 95 of Jeff Bridges as well. Well, this is just one tight race, about 3 minutes of green flag action right from the get-go here. It takes about half the race before our leader to finally break free, but the action behind him for second, third, and fourth, it is just awesome. Sit back and watch this race here. And I think the 59 feeling a little boxed in coming across the start-finish line is going to engage in a little bump and run here heading into turns 1 and 2. Let's see if the 59 can get around him.
As he is trying to equal his teammates' opening heat run here. Side by side for the lead. Forsyth trying to stick to the inside in the 3. Dave Bridges in the 4 now. As we're able to count on that outside row, 3, then 4. Runahan still challenging for the lead. Forsyth, though, being real sticky right there. Bit of contact coming into turn 4. Runahan trying to push it up the racetrack here around 1 and 2. Looking like he's got a bit of a run here. We'll see if Forsyth can fight back on the outside. Shane Bridges banging on the inside row here, but he's really trapped and got nowhere to go. Diving into 1 and 2 that time with Shane Bridges, and a little bit of an aggressive move there, and that's going to spread himself out from the front 2 cars. Runahan trying to clear coming into turn 4. Forsyth now trying to fight back. Runahan looking like he's
3.5 laps to go. The 59 finally breaking free behind him, though. These 3 drivers, they're in an all-out battle for second place. Currently leading the way, the 3, Brandon Forsyth. He has Shane Bridges to the inside and Randy McTavish right behind him as well here, and they will fight right to the start-finish line on the final lap.
Divisional points leader down low of them. And Randy McTavish now right behind him here as 3 of them trying to battle for second place. Much to the delight of our leader, the 59 of Jamie Runahan, as he's out to a Sunday drive here now. Hoping that car holds on for another lap here. Battle continues for second. Bridges now trying to get a little more out of that car around 1 and 2. Forsyth now with a bit more ground to make up. Jamie Runahan going to come home with that checkered flag. Second place finally here. Can the 3 will be the 4th. Bridges. Brandon Forsyth rounding out a podium finish there.
Well, I know I am repeating myself many times here, but J&J Motorsports with the hot hand here as of late. They are a perfect 6 for 6 over their last 6 combined starts between the 59 and the 95. All fired up with Jeff Bridges earlier on with a great burnout. Let's see Jamie's.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jamie. Sorry, Jamie. Jeff's burnout was a little bit better. I'm sure your teammate will tell you that whenever you get back into pit lane. Jeff Bridges in the 95 coming up through the field as it's the 47 Brian Burke. Bridges now pulling on upside. Brian Burke thought he saw an opening there, had to hammer down on the brakes though. As that opening shot just quickly open. Side by side on the front row, Jeff Bridges and Isabel Dexter. Brian Burke and Andy Shea there side by side for 3rd and 4th.
Well, over the next lap and a half here, keep an eye on the 15. Isabel Getson talking to the driver following the races, saying the car just kept getting harder and harder to turn, something just going on it, and you'll see she'll end up a little too high around 3 and 4, eventually making contact with that concrete wall.
And trouble is the 15 Isabel gets it. She just couldn't quite maneuver on 3 and 4.
And to add to it here, both the 95 and the 47 not seeing the yellow flag come out right away. A little scary moment as the 47 finally seeing the 15 there, hammering on the brakes, able to get around. Nothing intentional, of course, but we did have to send the 95 and the 47 to the back of the pack. And with 2 to go, it would be the newcomer, the 41 of Floyd McLeod, up front, looking for his first career win, drifting around 1 and 2 there, trying to get a little more speed, knowing very well he has a very fast driver behind him. Let's watch the final lap.
One more set of corners to go for the 41. Jeff Bridges trying to make one last push, but just too much room to try to make up. It'll be the 41 taking on the checkered flag.
Another tight one here, a number of laps of green flag racing before we have our first casualty of this one here, as the 49 will have some tire trouble, but better to have that in the semi than in the feature.
Ronahan continuing to pound on the back bumper of Forsyth. McTavish trying to hang on there now. Forsyth getting a little extra horsepower from the 59 behind him. Pushing him down the backstretch there. And the 3 just drifting around 3 and 4 that time. Ronahan now looking down low, seeing if that car can stick. Aggressive move around 1 and 2. Side by side for the lead now. 5.5 to go, and look at them, all 6 of them still in the same corner. Not much separating these cars here. Ronahan trying to clear the 3, Brandon Forsyth trying to fight back on that inside line. 3 in, 3 out. Ronahan up front. Shane Bridges trying to make a move down that inside. Laying down a bit of a smoke screen behind him to the 77. Trying to clear the 3. Brandon Forsyth, though, being real pesky on that outside groove. Finally clear the 3 of Brandon Forsyth down the front stretch here. Next time by, 2 laps to go. Ronahan trying to keep that distance between himself and the 4. Bradley Richard, trouble around 3 and 4. Possibly a tire going down as he went hard into one direction into that turn. And that front right tire there completely down, and he had nowhere to go but into the wall. Nice save by the 49 of Bradley Richard. Between himself and the 4. Bradley Richard, trouble around 3 and 4. Possibly a tire.
Well, on the restart here, closing laps of a green-white checkers restart, the 4 and the 59 begin to swing back and forth at each other for the checkered flag, and trust me, we will see a little bit more of this later on.
Bridges in front, preferred groove now. We'll see what the 59 has anything for him. In the 3 and 4, one more time. We'll see if Bridges can hang on. What does the 59 have left? That 4 is tough once it gets into the groove here once again. The 4 of Shane Bridges. Exactly. Early moments trouble already. A 60 of Stephen Madison sent the wrong way into turn 4. And that was a hard lick onto the outside wall. Shane Bridges sticking around making sure he's okay. Wow, that was a hard lick. I'm assuming because Shane driving away, Stephen okay there. Trouble already. A 60 of Stephen Madison sent the wrong way into turn 4.
As you can see here, the 60 beginning to get loose on his own, and the 76 really nowheres to go, trying to check up, has cars behind him here. He tries to brake as quick as he can, but ends up just catching that rear quarter of the 60, sending him into the concrete.
Early moments trouble already. A 60 of Stephen Madison sent the wrong way into turn 4. Heading to turns 1 and 2. Let's try to log some laps here now. A little better start here this time. Jeff Bridges out to the early advantage. Jamie run ahead. His teammate trying to catch him now early as well. Brandon Forsythe hanging on to second there as the field comes through the field. Coming into turn 4. Operating after the partial fix after that. This after Jamie run ahead, seeing an opening there, 3 wide around 1 and 3 and 4. Jeff Bridges wisely backing off. Didn't want to be caught in that 3 wide too long. It appears the 95 is falling off pace here now. Brandon Forsythe running in the top 3. He is the closest competitor with the 17 of needs to add at least 13 points. His day as caution is out.
You may have missed that, but if you look closely there in the middle of turns 3 and 4, just before we lose the shot there, Randy McTavish losing the tire. Luckily, he was okay, and our track photographer, Wendy Gallant, getting a couple of real good pictures of that unfortunate incident. The pair of these drivers worth the price of admission here on this night. The 4 and the 59 letting it all hang out literally here around 3 and 4. Bridges wide and sideways, and they will battle. And let me tell you, the best is yet to come.
Right back up to the 4. Laps into the Super Series. Bridges and run ahead 1 and 2. Forsythe running up 1 and 2 to try to get rid of the 49. Now run ahead action on the front row. Run ahead looking down low on the 4. Run ahead will pull back behind the 4. Reevaluate the situation here.
Now, don't forget about part 2 of this equation, Super Series points in this third and final battle. Heading into the start of this race, it was Brandon Forsyth at the top of the points board, 49 of Bradley Richard, only 4 points behind him, but you can see here a couple of positions in between those two drivers. The long shot, 76, Randy McTavish, unfortunately his night came to an early end, as we saw earlier. Back to the battle up front.
Has that red 59 all over his rear view mirror. Bridges trying to figure out what Runningham going to do behind him. Not sure if Runningham knows what he's going to do yet. This time by 9 left to go. That's 2 to go for the 4 and the 59. Does Jamie Runningham have an ace up his sleeve here? We will find out in these closing laps. All over that back bumper now, Jamie Runningham trying to make a move now to pull on the side. The white flag is out. Shane Bridges will fight back here now. A little over-aggressive move there. And a little housey go. I'm not sure how the officials are going to score this one. Closing lap. All over that back bumper now, Jamie Runningham trying to make a move now to pull on the side. The white flag is out. Shane Bridges will fight back here now. A little over-aggressive move there. And a little housey go. I'm not sure how the officials are going to score this one.
Well, that final couple of corners were just so much fun. Let's take a look at it a couple of more times and slow it down here for you. Just a whole lot of fun on a Saturday night here, a little tit for tat. And when I asked our race director, what do you call that? Is it 2 wrongs make a right? And he said, precisely. Both drivers knew what they were doing on both corners, 1 for 1, so I guess that evens it out. It'll be Shane Bridges for the Super Series checkered flag. One more time, let's get a little closer and a little slower here. Enjoy. We'll be taking a look at the final standings here in just a moment. As we wrap up this mini stock highlight reel, I have a funny feeling that Jamie was having a little more fun than Shane in that one, considering Shane is on the top of the leaderboard. But it was hugs and smiles in victory lane there as we see the two embrace. And Brandon Forsyth hangs on for the 3rd place finish, meaning he captures that Super Series championship. Checkered flag, though, going to the 4 of Shane Bridges. And for the Chris's Bobcats Services finishes and points, we'll take a look at those here now, and you can see J&J Motorsports starting their day with a pair of wins there between the 95 and the 59. Jamie Runningham follows it up with a pair of 2nd place finishes. We also had Jeff Bridges with 1 second and just outside of the top 5 there in the feature. Bradley Richard, hoping for a better day here today, started the day in contention for that Super Series championship, was looking for a better result in the feature. That team will have to go back to the drawing board, hopefully for some better luck to round out this season. Double winner for our points leader, the 4 of Shane Bridges. Should be a good points day for the 4 team. Opened up with a 2nd, followed up by a pair of wins, and with the 17 scratched for the night, that should put quite a lead heading into the final few events of our season. Well, and as we can see, the final points here for the Mini Stock Division Super Series, and while he's pretty fast out on the water and not too bad on the asphalt as well, the 3 of Brandon Forsyth taking home the Super Series championship, 5-point lead over, believe it or not, the 4 of Shane Bridges. He catapults over a number of cars in that final race, adding a maximum amount of 35 points to his bid. Third place finish for Bradley Richard, the 49 team. Great to see last year's Rookie of the Year doing very well this season. A little bad luck here on this night, but we know that team is dedicated and will rebound. And of course, Miller Boys Racing, between the 17 transmission problems and his Uncle Randy in Pro Stock having drivetrain problems, the 17 and the 77 hoping to get their problems all fixed up and around to go. Back on the points here, as you can see now, the 17 of Ricky Miller slipping down a position here. Jamie Runahan slides up into second. Shane Bridges continuing up top. Rounding out the top 5, Brandon Forsyth and veteran Randy McTavish just outside the top 5 there. We'll continue and let you take a look here at the final couple of people in the standings for our Chris's Bobcat Service Mini Stock Division.